Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. Jay, before I dive into this video, we always have to welcome very special guests, and those are the guests that are here for the first time. This is the Angry Man Podcast on Sports Media, where we're always dropping boxing-related content, so make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you are a regular patron of the channel, make sure that you smash that like button or the dislike button if you don't like the content. But make sure that you are engaging with the content. Jay, we are about to expose the hype. There is so much hype now being generated. Now, remember, if I'm not mistaken, when they initially announced this fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, I believe Canelo was a 5-1 favorite. Now he's at 2-1. And I've seen esteemed gentlemen on this channel like Gregory Quattlebaum, shout out to Mr. Greg, who originally was positioned where he stated that he believed that Terence Crawford would not be successful against a Canelo Alvarez, moving up the weight and all those things. And now he has pivoted to this fight being 50-50. And I think by fight night, he'll be leaning towards Terence Crawford. And there's a reason for this, Jay, because we're now seeing across the media where the media is now, I don't want to say it's selective. I don't know, but we're seeing trainers like shout out to Mr. Bozy, or we've seen Breadman talk about this, where they believe now that Terence Crawford has the ability to knock Canelo Alvarez out. Knock him out. We've seen this level of confidence coming from Terence Crawford about how there's nothing Canelo Alvarez can do about it. What he's going to do to him, how he's hunting him, how he's going to take everything from him, Jay. Right? You hear that in one breath, right, from these gentlemen, and you're hearing that on this side, right? And so now you got people that are thinking that this is a fight that could really go in the favor of Terence Crawford, and maybe it can. You never know. It is boxing. However, when you think about what Bomac'S is saying, and then when you actually take into consideration the Piers Morgan interview, Terence Crawford said he was only 70% sure that he could actually win the fight. 70% isn't 100%, because when you tell me that there's nothing you can do about it, that's certainty. That's certainty. Yep. So what changed between that interview and the press conference? Canelo didn't get any smaller. His skills didn't change. What changed? Here recently, Bomac'S is on record stating that, KO, we trained for 15 rounds, which would suggest that he understands that Terence Crawford, he's not going to really have the ability to knock Canelo out. He said that Canelo is a strong guy. It would be difficult to actually even push Canelo back. So at one point he might say, step to that motherfucker. But that could be dangerous, and they'll assess that when they get in the ring. So if you're training for 15 rounds and you are admitting that you can't push Canelo back, or it's going to be a difficult challenge in doing so, how is it that we got all these people over here talking about Terence Crawford is going to knock Canelo out? And I get it. It's the punch that you don't see, Jay, that push you away. But tell me this. How many punches did Madrimov not see? Then put him away.
Jerky.
Oh, yeah, that's it, because he's just so herky-jerky. Like, you can fight Terence Crawford in a way where you limit his ability to counterpunch you, right? That does exist. That does exist. And on top of that, who's to say, I'll say this, Terence Crawford has admitted, and Bomac'S has admitted, that Canelo Alvarez is an excellent counterpuncher himself. So in trying to counterpunch, you could get counterpunched, right? And that could make you more hesitant to throw. So I believe that when you look at the details, the nuances of what is actually being said, these gentlemen don't really believe that they're going to knock out Canelo Alvarez. And people are getting on the hype train. And I think it's creating a bit of disillusion, similarly to maybe what happened 2 years ago, when all conventional wisdom would suggest that one fighter will win and one fighter will lose. We're allowing narratives to cloud our better judgment. Jay, what are your thoughts on this topic of Terence Crawford knocking him out?
Not only that, to your point on that, even a super Bud fan was like, he's like, no matter what happened, I'm saying Bud gonna win. He said, no matter what, So at least he said that he's a Bud fan to the fullest. There's always a way that the other opponent can win, regardless of the difference in skill set. All it takes is one punch. I'm saying? I get it. The punch you don't see, but it goes both ways. What if Bud don't see a punch that Canelo throws? He can go to sleep. It can go both ways. We've never seen Canelo hurt within the last 10 years. Last time people would point out, well, Canelo's been hurt. Miguel Cotto brother. That's the last one. We've seen Bud get dazed a little bit a few times. So, it happens. But, they're saying like all these fans are saying, oh, he's going to knock him out. And Bud feels 70%. That's a C. That's 1 point of a failing grade. If we go back to old school grade scale, 70 or above, that's passing. That's a C. 69 and below, that's a D. You ain't passing. So you're not even a B in confidence in beating Canelo. And your trainer, Bomac, has said on several occasions. I remember watching it when I saw it. I sent it to you. It's like Bomac has said this on several occasions. We're training for 15 rounds, which is smart because you're not going for the knockout because Canelo's a hard dude to hurt, let alone knock out. You box his head off. That's the smart thing to do. But all y'all fans saying that he's just gonna go in and just knock him out like Canelo is just some chump. Y'all are really tripping. I'm not the biggest Canelo fan at all. Everyone knows that, but you gotta keep it a beam, man. Canelo's a tough guy to hurt at all. Can you frustrate him? Yeah, you can. Can you knock him out? Hasn't happened in 65 fights, is what I'm saying. How many times has he been hurt in 65 fights? Maybe three. One that we definitely know for sure. He's been in there with some fighters that can crack with one punch knockout power. But it's more or less an accumulation, more of a combination type fighter. He's not going to really knock you out with one punch, and y'all are banking on, it's the punch you don't see, it's the punch you don't see. Y'all acting like Canelo ain't a good counter puncher. Like he don't slip with almost probably 95, 99% of those punches that comes out of him, he slips and rolls with them. So they're not hitting him flush. We seen Bud get hit flush against Madrimov. He even got hit flush against Spence. So Bud can't get hit flush. Canelo hasn't been getting hit flush like that as much. So, it's a lot to play here. But, hey, if y'all want to go on that hill and down that hill, come September 14th, it's going to be some tears. One way or another. Someone going to be crying. And I think y'all might be crying if y'all hoping for a knockout because that's the less likelihood of way of Bud winning. You better think that Bud's going to win by a decision, whether it's a split or UD versus a knockout. That's your best bet.
I don't disagree with that at all. You guys let us know what you think in the comment section in regards to this. I think this myth has been busted. I don't really understand how we've gotten here. And, we'll see what ends up happening. I think we'd have to come back and later discuss in the event that Terence Crawford actually knocks out Canelo, because that would be extremely interesting, and we would have to dissect how is it possible that happened. Let us know what you think. Don't forget to hate, like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Angry Man Podcast on Sports Media, and we are out.